Hello and welcome to practice problems for homework 10. Okay, what we're going to do is do some problems here that are very similar to the homework. And as always, before we get started, quick reminder, before you try this, you should have watched the lecture, solved the numerical problems, and have the concepts, definitions, formulas handout at hand, or simply the standard lecture handout, which has everything you might need in there as well. Just a little easier to find things maybe in the concepts, definitions, formulas, Reader's Digest condensed version. Okay, so let's jump right into this. Got several problems to look at here. The first one, Bidco CEO is considering the launch of a new product headed by employee X. Employee X is promising this product will return a positive cash flow of 375 million after a year. The CEO believes that's probably correct, but maybe a 1 in 4 chance that he will screw up and return just 100 million positive flow. And that might be really bad if the cost of the project now at t equals 0 was something like 200. So in that case, net net, the project would lose 100 million. So that would not be good. But anyway, here are the numbers that we are given. So we want to know what's the weighted average project risk adjusted end of year one cash flow for this product launch. Round your answer to one decimal place. As always, use the given units. So we'll work in units of millions here, okay? And in this case, this is a one of the cases where we want to get the expected value cash flow. Okay, so expected val cash flow of 1 CF1 is going to be equal to 25% times 100 plus only two possibilities here. Either it's going to go as promised or it's not. So the as promised case would have to be 75%, right? Because these two have to add up to 100% times 375, and that's equal to, I have no idea, as usual, but as usual, I can calculate it. And let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and we get 306.25, so we could round that to one decimal place, and that would be 306.3, right? So, whoops, let's do that. There we go. Okay, and let's move on then to another problem. An investor uses time value equations in the opportunity investment model to analyze potential purchases. She measures project specific risk in future cash flows. That's what everyone in the world does, pretty much. And she believes that the project risk adjusted cash flow 2 for a prospective bond is 90. The promised cash flow 2 for the bond, should say the bond she is considering, is $100. The annualized risk-free rate for 2-year bonds is 4%. If she thinks she should pay just $75 for the bond today, what annual discount rate did she use to get this value? Round your answer to 3 decimal places and do not represent your answer as a percent. Okay, so this is a question with a lot of information in it, and we're not going to need all the information. The key points here are she's using the opportunity investment model, and she measures project-specific risk in future cash flows, okay? So she is not going to want to work with the promised cash flows anytime we're dealing with cash flows, okay? Because it says right here she uses project-specific risk it measured in future cash flows. So we don't want to use that 100. We're not going to need the risk-free rate. We're looking for the rate that she's actually used to compute the $75 she thinks she should pay for the bond. So let's see if we can figure this out. I like to start by putting in the cash flows we need to think about. So she's thinking at t equals 0 now she's going to pay 75 for this bond, and then nothing is going to happen until end of year 2 when she thinks on a project risk adjusted basis that she's going to get 90 back. Okay, no other cash flows here. So we can use, in this case, to solve for, she used some R, some interest rate, some discount rate to get from here to there. And whenever we have a situation like that with just two cash flows, we can use the time value of money basic to cash flow formula, which would say in this case that CF2 is equal to CF0 times 1 plus the r that she used raised to the t, which in this case for her is 2 years. Okay, and we can do a little algebra on this and solve this for r and get that the r that she used is equal to CF2 over CF0 raised to the 1 over 2 minus 1. Okay, and I can plug in my CF2 over CF0 here. And let me just do that. So I have 90 over 75. Okay, and let's go ahead and solve that. Okay, and we get that she used an interest rate or a discount rate of about 9.5%, and we want to round that to 3 decimal places, so that would be 0.95. And let me just convince you that that is really true. We get to 3 decimal places, we get 0.095. So how would we interpret this while we're here? Okay, so she says, um, first of all, on average, over the long haul, for bonds with this risk from this type of bond issuer, she's going to get $90. So some of the time she'll get 100, some of the time she'll get something else. And on average, if she keeps making bond investments like this over and over and over again, she will get $90 because some will flame out and some won't. And she feels like a fair price for this bond is 75. So her opportunity cost investment and our opportunity cost of capital here is going to be 9.5%. So that's what she's looking to get on average if she pays for bonds like this 75 now and believes on average she's going to get 90 at the end of the day. Okay, so let's leave that and let's go now to our final question in this series. Consider a portfolio manager whose mission is to maximize annual returns through equity investments in the industrial real estate sector. Which is the best opportunity cost investment for this manager and why? So we have 5 possibilities down here, and let's just go through them. All right, so first of all, opportunity cost investment. Let's say, oops, I forgot sort of what that is about. So in that case, I would go to my handout 10 concepts, definitions, formulas, or the regular handout 10, either one, and I would look up and I'm looking for opportunity cost. Now it's not finding it because probably just because as usual I can't spell. So let's just try this instead. Okay, there we go. So it jumped right to opportunity cost investment. And what is that? Let's remind ourselves of the definition. It's a diversified portfolio of known projects with market or industry risks that fit our investing mission. So in this case, we know the mission and we're asked for the opportunity cost investment. So the mission is, again, maximize annual returns through equity investments in the industrial real estate sector. So let's take these one at a time. Vanguard's REIT industry mutual fund, which makes money by purchasing a large number of real estate investment trusts covering the housing, commercial, and medical property sectors. So that's probably not great because we're looking for just the industrial real estate sector. So A, we probably want to throw out an exchange traded fund that owns stock in many warehouse and factory REITs. Okay, so warehouse and factories, that sounds pretty industrial to me. And we're looking for equity investments. So stock and equity are synonyms. So this is looking pretty perfect to me. It's also good because remember this needs to be diversified, and In B, it says here many warehouse and factory REITs. Okay. Um, and each REIT itself is going to be involved in many properties. So we've sort of got double diversification going on here. The SPY exchange traded fund, which closely matches the returns of the S&P 500 equity market index, well, that matches equity, but it certainly doesn't match the industrial real estate sector, much broader. So that's not going to work. So far the best fit is B. In the real world, you may not find a perfect fit. You find the best fit that you can. So far, our best fit is B. D, a mutual fund that invests in the bonds of industrial REITs. That sounds really good. Bonds, REITs themselves, like I said, are somewhat diversified because they're involved in many properties. But here we have bonds, and we're looking for equity investments. So that's not going to work. Fox Funds REIT, which owns only Foxconn's industrial facility in Ohio and makes money by collecting rent from Foxconn. Okay, so this is industrial, that's good, but this fails because it's not diversified, right? It's only involved with one property. So going through all of them, the best answer that we've got here is B, okay? So we want to go with B for the reasons that I just outlined. Okay, and that's it for this set of practice problems for homework 10, and I'll look forward to catching up with you again soon.